Slater Crusaders, welcome back to our special COVID-19. The battle continues. Gosh, we have an amazing guest, retired Colonel Michael Lewis, an infectious disease expert with the U.S. Army. Colonel Lewis, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Mike. How are you doing?
Man, really glad you're here. I can't wait to get your insight here. So let's go back to 2003. So you were in Southeast Asia in 2003 when SARS broke out. What can you tell us about that experience? What was noteworthy there?
Well, it was interesting. I mean, it was this new virus and nobody knew what to expect. It came out of China. I don't recall exactly what particular area out of China, kind of leapfrogged through Hong Kong and Hanoi, and then just sort of went out to the world from there. It was, back then it was a brand new virus. We're so used to the influenza and year to year change that the influenza does. And sometimes the influenza makes a big leap, like the 1918 Spanish flu or, the Hong Kong flu and things like that. Well, this was very similar. The world had really not known about coronaviruses leaping into man. And so it was very scary, but it seemed to burn out, as the summer came on, and everybody expected it to come back the next year, and it really didn't.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's just jump there from SARS to a different coronavirus, this one. What are the differences? And we've been talking on my show recently about the CDC director and others talking about it coming back for a second spike in the fall. So what are the differences, and do you see this potentially coming back again?
Anything at this point is conjecture. And so, back in 2003, we were convinced it would come back the next year, and it came back very limited, but not anything to speak of. Nobody even talks about it, really. So I don't think we know at this point, but there is differences between the original, we'll call it the original SARS, and the COVID-19, which is a variant of SARS. And it's a similar virus, but yet it's one that the world has not seen. And the biggest difference is the virulence, the ability, the infectability, and the lethality of it seems to be not hugely, but slightly worse than what SARS was. But when you talk about going through billions of people, that can make a big difference.
Yeah. What do we do with the fact that we don't have the data, like the newness of this? It's so difficult to calculate anything. You can't calculate death rates. That's impossible because we don't know how many people have it, let alone how many people are actually dying from it even. So what do we do? Like, as an infectious disease expert, what do you do with knowing so little?
Well, you set out and you try to do the studies as best as possible. There's a couple of different ways. One is, people that are coming into the healthcare system, you want to be testing them to get some idea of the rates that are going on. But there's also, you want to be going out into the population and testing people who aren't having symptoms. So you want to do more of a random population level thing and try to interpret, you're not going to be able to test everybody, obviously. But if you go out and you test 1,000 people walking down the street, for example, you'll get an idea of how many people actually are carrying the disease, and then you can extrapolate that to bigger populations. Part of the problem is the actual testing itself. I'm not on the front lines today, so I'm not privy to knowing what we call the sensitivity and the specificity of the testing. How good is the testing that we're using? And that's a big issue as well.
Slater Crusaders, thanks for watching the first on YouTube. If you want more, like, subscribe. We got plenty.